Hello again everyone, welcome back. Thanks for visiting once again. Carrying on today with some of the final parts of the Kotare 132 scale Spitfire before we start to think about painting things. There's one or two little extra pieces to do, and I'll point out one or two other little features as well whilst I go along, but I'm going to be putting the paint masks on for the outside of the canopy components today, so that should be a fairly short video, it says here, and we'll see what happens. But as you can see, I've picked up an art scale mask. Now I should say very quickly, this was from the most excellent Nigel's modelling bench, who provided me with this. Now art scale make two kits for the 132 scale Spitfire. They make a one-sided version and a two-sided version. So the two-sided version, as you can probably imagine, what you do is you put a mask on the inside and it allows you to be able to paint the inside of the canopy. What I suspect I'm going to have to do here is to paint a primary coat on the outside, which will be cockpit green, so that shows through on the inside, and then paint the outside colour after that. So anyway, let's crack straight along with this. The legend is fairly clear here in the sense that we have various different shaded sections, 1, 2 and 3 for the front canopy here, and so on. It's all pretty self-explanatory really, isn't it? So let me get my sharp knife out. That blade is still relatively new, so I'm going to locate section number 2 to start with, which we can see there, and see if we can remove it from its in fact, actually what we might do is just see if we can take the outer backing off. That might prove to make things much more easy. I don't know. Let's see if we can do that. I imagine we ought to be able to. There we go. There's a section we can pull off there. There we are, look. So what I can do here is pull this away, and it should make it terribly straightforward to get all these sections off. Hopefully I don't make a bit of a mess of the what's the story with that then, I wonder. Not really sure what's happening in this section here. I see. Okay, this whole centre section comes out. Forgive me being slow on the uptake there. I was a little bit, was I not? So there we are, look. There we go. And most usefully, as you can see, all the sections that you want to look at are all marked with numbers on them already. So there we are. So I'll put that away in the corner there for a minute, just out of the way, because I might perhaps decide to use that for something. I'm not quite sure what yet, but anyway, let's hop to it. So we'll take section 2 and fetch that off and see if we can sight this correctly. I think I'm going to need to use the magnifier, because then I can see it, and I think like you can too. So here we go, eyes down, look in. I've given this a bit of a clean to start with, so that it sticks well. It's not quite on straight, is it? I think that's what it looks like to me. I just have to have a look at it underneath a magnifying glass proper. that to be completely crooked. Yes, it's slightly off on that, on this side here. So what we'll do then is I'll have to carefully remove it and try again. So here we go again, let's try one more time. It looks a little better now, so right, there we are, that's the first one done, and scarcely half an hour gone. Number 3, which is the starboard section there. Now it has a little section that pokes out. I'm not quite sure why. We'll just have to quick look at that a bit later on when we have it sighted properly and see where we go with that. Oh, that's the right side. If it goes that way, so I suspect it goes that way, doesn't it? Yes, you can see the shape of the corner of that mask there conforming to the shape of the corner of the canopy. I don't quite know what I'm going to do with that because I've put in the faired mirror, as you can see, so this should in fact slip over the back there and hop out the other side. I'm not going to put that on just yet, and I'll investigate what to do a little bit later, but let's get these on to start with. And then we can take it forward from there, can't we? So it is possible to mask these surfaces manually, but having done it on 1/48th scale aircraft, it's considerably harder. Takes a great deal of time and a great deal of patience, but essentially the best way of doing it is to use, it's not quite in the right place, that one, is it? Use thin strips of tape which allow you to be able to mask around curved and compound surfaces. But you do need some patience, so these art scale mask type things and ones like them, I think perhaps companies like Eduard make them as well. Yeah, that looks a bit better, doesn't it? I'd say. As I say, companies like Eduard make them as well, as I understand these things. Do make the job a lot easier and a lot simpler. See, after just a few minutes we've got 2 of these masks on, or 3 of these masks, beg its pardon. Look at me being able to count. And we're well on the way. I'm going to use 6 and 7 now. Now just quickly, just to point out, with 6 and 7 on this particular piece, before you throw it around, where did that go? Seem to have lost that. Where's that gone? I seem to have misplaced that piece of fortunately it fell into my lap, so it wasn't a particular issue. On this particular U-shaped section of canopy which sits behind the pilot seat, there's a cut section here. Let's just take the magnifier up and just give you a quick look at that so that you can see it. Can you see? I think you should be able to see that just there. That sits towards the nose of the aircraft rather than at the back, so it's important to get that little section right there. Just zero out a little bit. Yes, you can see that. Maybe zero in a tad. Yeah, is that visible? That's slightly out of focus, isn't it? So that's that's better. That should be more easy. Excuse me. So I'm going to use piece number 7 to go on the lower side as we see things. Just lift that corner away, find my bendy round the corner tweezers, and then drop this section on. It's somewhat easier to see this if one moves it so that one just gets a shining of light into the glass area or to the clear area. It's not quite there. Neither is that. There we go, that's that one done. Back to our section here. And pull up a corner. As I say, I find this much simpler to do with this section, with the outer sections pulled up. So I'm trying to concentrate on this and do the talk at the same time. That's not quite in the right place. That's flipped over there. That's not where we want that. As you can see, it's overlapped to the front here, so that's not in the right place. So we'll drag that back. And try again. As you can see, you have to look at about 5 places at once to make sure that you get the thing sighted. I know some people like to see masks taken off. I don't know, I'm taking a chance on thinking perhaps some people like to see masks being put on. If people don't like to see them put on, it's going to be a not very well watched video, eh? But we'll soon find out about that. To those of you who do watch my videos, thank you very much. To those of you who subscribe to my videos to actually see more of them, well, I'm very grateful to you. I hardly imagined there would be so many of you, to be perfectly truthful, but once again, somehow my thinking about this has been confounded by all of you kind people who tune in and also offer your thoughts and your wisdom, which I'm very grateful for. This one's proving to be a bit of a problem, isn't it? So let's see if we can start again. Speaking of words of wisdom, if anybody's got any super methods of doing this, which don't involve me looking like I'm scratching about endlessly. Yeah, that looks a little better, I'd say. Yeah, I think that looks a little better, so that's that one done. And then the canopy front here, with its... Just give that bit of a clean up a minute whilst we're... I'm going to talk for a second, and then we can look at this a little later on. You have to be careful with this one. I've just got... That's not very clever. There's a canopy closer under here. There's a little canopy closer that I've put in, and I got that caught upon my cloth that I was cleaning with. It's not broken, but it is now bent. It just goes to show how easily these things can be damaged. So do please be careful, ladies and gentlemen. So let's go with this. So we want 4 and 5. Now this is a bit different in the sense that what you're using is a strip of tape here. So this might prove a bit more of a challenge. We'll see what happens. Oh, hello. Let's throw that around the place, shall we? I'm going to hold that with a little less of the tweezers now. Just it's not on right, is it? So let's try again. I had a bit too much tweezer on that the last time, and it made it more difficult to get the tape to stick. And same again. It keeps moving, doesn't it? It's being very awkward, this one. That's that one. Let's get that final strip off there. Lift it away and try not to pull it too hard. It's easy to crease these things if you don't quite get the grippage right, as it were. That looks okay there, so let's just pull this tape up here. into position there and follow it with that one. So thin strips of tape are better for curved and compound surfaces. I might have said that before. Certainly worthwhile considering your position. There's one further thing that I will do with this, and that is to use just a little thin strip of tape here. I'll use this one. It's a little bit too thick, but what you do with this is put that on like that, and it gives you a little tag to hold the thing by, which I think might be quite useful. So there are a bunch of other things that you can mask here. 17, which is this, is the tail wheel mask. 18 and 19 are the two oval masks for the Mk1a gun sight. There's a whole series of masks for the main wheels and so on and so forth, which I may very well use elsewhere, but it's a clever little mask set, and as you can see it does go on really rather nicely, so I'm quite pleased with that particular result. So take a look at art scale masks if you wish to. I think they're available at all good internets. Let's move the magnifier away. We don't really need that anymore, do we? We can move out to 0.9 times magnification. So I've started to paint some other components as well, in the sense that we've got the propeller started. I primed it in white rather than black, and then painted these ends yellow. This needs to be masked to a distance of 3.3 there. Let's try that again with my teeth in this time. 3 millimeters, and then it's black the rest of the way, so that's okay. Here's one of them, by the way. This is the resin cast or 3D printed exhaust stub outlets that you get as an additional part, and what I will do is just show you the difference between these two things. They have locator pegs on them. I'll just zero in and show you the plastic component first. As you can see, there are locator pegs on these which go into the side of the exhaust stacks inside the engine, and from the side they look more or less sort of identical, but from the back they really come into their own. You can see the back of the stubs here. The front two are sort of slightly oval and curved, like slightly smiling shapes if you look at them from the right direction. The original fit one would require quite a significant amount of work, as you can see. So if you want to do these yourselves, you'll need to be drilling out in here, but there's going to need to be some filling and so on here and here. This is going to be a job. You're going to have to be really careful with this, and a little bit of gap filling here and in there, but I think for £12 this particular little upgrade is rather a good one, and would look very convincing, or will look very convincing when it's on board. So I can recommend that, but I was lucky enough to get them with the model, so I can still boast that this is out of the box. One of the other things that I will do later is the door. Now I'm going to put the door in the open position, so you can see there's one option in the model for the door closed and one option with the door open. When the door is closed, you have to do some cutting out of the plastic surround there. I haven't got the model to hand at the moment. It's away over in the corner of my modelling room, as it were. But I'm going to prime and paint this. You will note on this particular section, this has the late type or later type door handle. The early type door handle was a circular piece of wire which was suspended between two other pieces of wire, and you grasped it and pulled to open up the door, the downward facing door. This is a door clip, so that's going to have some additional detail, and you will also observe that there is no crowbar. So any pre-1941 Spitfire, I think it was 1941, I'm doing this from memory, didn't have a crowbar fitted, and when they did have a crowbar fitted, they were always green. They were never red during the war. So that's that. So that will get put in pretty much right at the end. But we are sort of pretty near the end now. You know, some painting of wheels and such like to do. Let's just zero back out again. And various other oddments. I'm going to mask off the oleo legs and then complete the painting underside and top side. I'm going to prime the top side in grey and then paint it the camo patterns and so on. Excuse me, I'll give you a bit of a look at that before that you know, before that's done and finished. This was today about this. Obviously, just while I'm thinking about it, it almost goes without saying that these clear sections here that don't have masking on them, you cover up with that blue jollop that you can get from modelling shops. That's a bit like blue jelly, that sort of thing. You cover that up with it and away you go. Yeah, there we are. So concludes another video from myself, and thank you very much for tuning in and watching. Very pleased to see the subscribers, and thank you again for your subscription. You know, click the bell, click the like thing, click the share or whatever it is they call it, so that you can be alerted to my new videos. I'll look forward to seeing you on the next one. Thanks very much indeed for tuning in. Take care now. Bye bye.